There's a ton off the board. Orianna, Rumble, Azir, all gone already. You can see that the Rise, the Mundo. I'm surprised. We could be getting a Pantheon, like Nocturne angle, one of those two junglers.
And normally Mundo has been banned in the past whenever you're trying to potentially prep for a Malphite jungle, as that has been a common answer. But I would imagine that if you're trying to go for Malphite, you should also pay the Trundle tax, which technically it's a good champion for Monki, but I don't know if you really want to. You don't need to go that far down. And I think Mundo just happens to be a safe, reliable blind tank pick for Monki that he can go to. And Anyone's Legend, off of now taking off the Jarvan and the Xin Zhao, which in that LNG series were the two champions that Monki did pick up Player of the Game awards on. They're now gone from the series. So I would not be surprised if Anyone's Legend are just trying to push him off comfort and really force him to start picking champions he's not nearly as practiced on for this split.
I would love Pantheon Talia here for AL. I like the Yunara, I think it's great, but there's options into it. You know, the Aphelios that's been prioritized in the LPL a lot. You could play Kaiser into it. Ezreal's up as well. So there are things that I think you can play against this Yunara that allow you to have like either a good lane or a fine team fight. But I think that Pantheon global prioritization is like really up. I think that Talia pairs with it really well. I'm really shocked if this is the answer. The takeaway of the Lulu plus you're first picking Lulu and Sion. I mean, I was very wrong with where my head was at with this draft, but I have to say, I don't really see it right now for AL. Trundle value.
Yeah, Trundle value is going to go up here, and I'm curious if Anyone's Legend are trying to bait it out of Monki right now, because picking Trundle early when you don't know the jungle matchup can just be as damning as it is when you do pick the Trundle once you see the enemy tank jungle. Now, because Sion is going to go top, WE, you get the Gwen. More than likely, that should be the answer into the Sion.
Yeah.
And this is what we're talking about, Jbetto, that what we wanted to see from WE. Try and find good counter picks that should give you priority, that should give you winning lanes, should give you push.
Yep.
And Karma, that is one way that you can try and help win push with this Yunara, despite not getting the Lulu combo. I take that back. Should have waited until the selection finished. My apologies.
So this is still a flex, like potentially. It can be Gwen jungle because Aurora is fine into Sion in the top lane. I think that it's very likely Gwen top, Aurora mid, but I still want to put it out there. Like, it is a possibility of a flex. I think WE's draft is quite nice so far. They've a very strong ADC. This is something that we've seen rising up in priority. I think the Jinx is better. Normally into the Aphelios has been the matchup that we've seen most often, but it is strong. It's just, I'm really surprised at the lack of Pantheon Nocturne. I think that WE can get either of those. Their draft is so strong. Getting a Pantheon with an Aurora, with a Gwen is lovely. Nocturne Aurora is something that Gen G and T1, mostly Gen G, were playing on Aurora's release. I remember that combo being pretty nasty. I would be surprised if those get let through, which they're not. But then, you know, then you're going down to maybe a Vi, maybe a Wukong, or even, you know, maybe like an assassin-style jungler. Could be the Maokai too, but I think AL, I'm not on the same logic train here with their draft.
Let's see if Anyone's Legend continue down the route of getting those junglers away from Monki. You already called out the Nocturne. Let's see if you can get 2 for 2 with the Pantheon banned snipe as well. No, it's the Skarner, which, to be fair, that is another Monki comfort champion, especially from his 2025 days and 2025 season. So Anyone's Legend now have a chance to lock in their champion of choice. Wow, this just really feels like Anyone's Legend trying to goad Monki and saying, what are you going to pick? What are you going to pick for the rest of the series if we start taking these champions away from you?
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a flame hover there. Like, we know what you're picking. The Pantheon makes a ton of sense, taking it away from... Like, I think that if you give a global to Gwen Aurora, who have great side lanes anyway, the game is very difficult to play. But taking the Pantheon for AL, very needed, I think, with the Lulu, with the Scion. You don't have like a primary engage tool that like snaps onto somebody, and now you do. So WE will take instead the Karma, and then what is going to be... I don't know if I love... Trundle Karma is strong in a 2v2. In a 5v5, would I prefer Trundle over a Wukong here? I can't say that I would. I think that you've got enough tank damage with Aurora, with Gwen, but it is going to be the Trundle lock-in. So, Shanks, what do you have up your sleeve?
Yeah.
The Victor's banned. Maybe it's just... Okay.
Oh... Honestly, so the big thing that you hit on, Jbetto, is the lack of strong engage from WE, because you're just relying on speed boost from Mantra Inspired from Karma and tagging someone with slows from your Trundle Pillar or the Needlework from Gwen. You're really, really banking on heavy flanks with WE if you want to ever get these team fights to be as explosive as you want them to be, because if you just try to run into anyone's legend, that's really tough to do. But if you're the first ones at objectives and they're forced to run into you, then that's a completely different story. But once again, WE, you have to be the ones that move first into objectives, and you have to be the ones getting priority for yourselves. Now, looking at these drafts, do you feel like that they actually have priority in some of these lanes that can accomplish that?
I think WE do have priority in lanes. I think the Lulu Jinx can find windows, but against Karma, you shouldn't have prior ever. You know, the Gwen, the Scion, when Gwen gets first item, the Aurora is a very scary lane. But the problem is, like you were talking about, you rock up to these team fights, and how do you fight? You've got a Jinx, as soon as you get a reset in your front-to-back pick-style comp with RE Pantheon that will take over the team fight. You've got guaranteed confirmed engage with the Pantheon. You've got great follow-up CC from almost everyone else on the entire team. And you're not that tanky. Gwen can buy time, sure, but everyone else on this Team WE draft is just going to die upon getting CC'd by Pantheon. So if a reset goes over to AL... I mean, I see the draft now. They ended up going with the Pantheon. I don't know if I agree with the order, but they made it there in the end.
Global pressure from this Pantheon, the quick movement of priority from this Ahri. We'll see how it all pans out as we hit Summoner's Rift for Game 2.
Looks like we're straight into some action here. No time for gyos in our Game 2 here. But I will say something we've seen a few times, like a handful of times, maybe not even a handful, is the mid lane gank down bot early because you can't base. So if you do happen to catch, you know, the bot lane of WE here on a good timer, is he going to flush the wall?
Yo, I love this from Monki. Just go for the chomp, stat stick, beat down strat. Tarzan already took 50% of his HP as damage, and Monki is just going to say, Tarzan, this is my jungle now. Monki has the health bar advantage, wards him off. Yeah, Tarzan, you're just going to have to force to go back towards the top side. He is trying to see if he can at least space out Monki and trade some spear shots into him without Monki getting any trade damage back. And Monki's... Wow, this is so fascinating.
So this is actually so incredibly good for Team WE. The reason is that delaying Pantheon's level 6 by any means is good. This is kind of what Trundle does, right? He just walks in and says, this is my jungle now. You have to walk away. You have to pay the tax. Trundle walks in, that's not your camp, little bro. You got to go somewhere else. But the fact that Tarzan sticks around, what for? What are you expecting to do? Are you expecting that Monki's going to forget you were there and walk away? Like some Skyrim, you know, type beat? But I think that delaying the level 6 from Pantheon is so big, it means that the side lanes are safer. You have time to let this Gwen maybe get solo killed.
Oh boy, Cube forced to flash. Flandre flashes on top! Oh my goodness gracious. Anyone's Legends top laner Flandre gets the solo in the blind pick Scion versus the counter pick Gwen.
Okay, you know what? I like the start from WE. I actually do like the draft. Like, it's not... It's a bit tough without the guaranteed engage, but it's still not bad. You should have pushing lanes, and you don't. you know, the Karma had to base very early on, and you had no push in bot. Your Gwen has just been solo killed by a Scion at 3 minutes. So, we're gonna... it's pretty brutal out here for WE. I will say, again, I like the start from Monki. I think that he's been doing a pretty good job in this series at, you know, trying to give his team something to work with, but his lanes are just not responding.
If you had to be a lawyer and try and defend Q in a laning phase case, I think you would just want to drop the case as soon as possible. Be like, I can't do this, man. This is too much.
Look, the Scion lane early can be really tough. Like, he does do a lot of damage, and Gwen needs time, but at the same time, you can't be getting fully killed at level 3 when the game is set up for you, right? Again, Tarzan is not going to get level 6 for a while. He's delayed on his clear. You should be fine isolated in your lane. He's not going to be there. You can't get solo killed. But, you know, there was a solo kill. At least WE have this pressure in bot lane. It's working well now, but yeah, that's not the best start.
There are not many tank matchups that can survive against a counterpick like Gwen. Sion is one of the few, but also I think it's fair to say that Flandre is just really good at League of Legends, guys. And,
yeah, he's kind of him.
Yeah, he got first all pro for a reason. As getting ganked by a quick ad here. We'll see if that pops down. But first dragon is going to be spawning in the next 10 seconds. Dragons so far in at least playoffs haven't necessarily been an immediate priority for junglers. It's just been so important for them to get their camps. And considering the level 1 start we had, where Monki and Tarzan were kind of dangling each other and trying to ego check and mog the one or the other.
They were
literally trying to mog each other and see, and Tarzan was trying to see, like, maybe Monki messes up. Maybe I'm just better. And Monkey's like, can you just go to your side of the map, please? Oh my goodness. Yaoyao just solo killed Kael. He was trying to receive the wave and make sure that it was set up nicely for Hope.
Maybe Kael saying worth. Like, I kept the wave out. The kill went over to Karma. It's fine, all right? Hope got the full wave. He's up CS. I will say, speaking about mogging, what are your thoughts on the, you know, Clavicle getting frame mogged by the ASU frat leader as they're getting up top?
What did you just say to me? You spoke English?
Do you not know about that?
No, I have no knowledge of what you just said.
That's really something. I don't know. That was brutal.
I'll tell you what I do know, and what is brutal is Tarzan completely mogging Cube on the top side of the map.
I will say, when you're a Gwen and the enemy team is Scion and Pantheon, you definitely do get mogged. Like, there's not a ton you can do. The raw aura. It's like Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins. You know, you just stand there.
Okay, and that I do know. Yeah.
He just, you know... Yeah, good character. Anime fell off a little bit. It is a little bit of a strange anime as well. But, you know, great character. Gwen did die again. This Scion is up 700 gold in a matchup that he was counterpicked in. So that's not the best start. But Yaoyao did get a solo kill. So if we're scoring points on aura this game, Yaoyao is up.
Pretty crucial for Yaoyao to get the solo kill in the counterpick support selection against Kael. Remember, guys, Kael is first all-pro support, so that is definitely a major plus in Yaoyao's book of accomplishments for this split. Needlework traded for Unstoppable Onslaught. Flandre just gets out and preserves as much HP as possible. About in a 1v2, Hope forces the barrier out of the bout, and he gets an extra shield from the Inspire. Meanwhile, mid lane, Shanks doing battle with Tarzan against Monki and Karis. They already used Between Worlds and Subjugate popped. As anyone's legend still have access to the Grand Starfall. Shanks charming up Monki, trying to bait him in. Has access to Flash and Spirit Rush. And honestly, Jbetto, major trade for anyone's legend. They burned both ultimates from Karis and Monki.
Yeah, very nice. And Yeah, Shanks, did have to use his ult as well, but
Oh
I mean,
my
where's
God.
Tarzan going to go? Is he going to ult right here? I think he is.
Send it. Oh, good night, Cube. Tarzan sounds the horn of the theme. Grand Starfall right on Cube's face, and Monki can't do a damn thing about it.
We were talking about, before we went live, about the Life as a Highway song. I feel like that might be, there's the joke about like junglers putting on like, payphone and just full clearing. I feel like that's a good song to make that play, gank and life is a, just as you soar in and take down the kill. Cube is 0-3. This is not the best start for your Gwen counterpick.
No, this is quite brutal. Looks like Tarzan was able to snag one grub away, as Monki did secure the other. It'll end up being 2-1 grub score for WE, but Hope manages to bully away about, knowing that he had the barrier advantage, as well as both flash advantages were expended. So it must have been a pretty gnarly 1v1, and Hope is going to collect some plates. I mean, Jbetto, we're seeing a similar story. Maybe a fight in the jungle here. Monki trying to steal away this blue buff, and he's going to get denied.
I'm surprised at how quiet this mid lane matchup has been, as Karis does go over the wall and chunk Shanks just a little bit with an exchange kiss of the charm from Shanks. But, I mean, that series, so that game 1 in our series was so mid lane dependent, and this game hasn't really mattered a ton about this early mid lane matchup. I think that it'll matter a lot more when the charm becomes relevant, but it's been a lot about the top lane.
For what it's worth, WE are not in the goal deficit that they were in at this point of the game from the previous round. Now, that being said, they need to leverage more than being in a deficit at all if they want to be able to leverage this comp and its power going into these fights. The first dragon, they did manage to snag, but going into that second dragon, which is spawning in about 90 seconds time, we need to see those first item spikes coming on in and them getting first move into the pit. Otherwise, it is very difficult for them to contest anyone's legend.
I would be even surprised to see like, either of these teams kind of give the dragon as well, if that's an option for them. It's still likely that you can roll like a Chemtech this game with the Hextech off the table, and it would only be AL down 2 dragons, which is okay. It's more likely that WE give this dragon up and then it's one apiece, get a bit more goal. I think that the top lane situation is something that needs to be remedied somehow by maybe plates, but with Tarzan in the game, on this Pantheon, you're not really allowed to make any players on the side lane without him being there. He's like a hall monitor. He's ready to go. He's checking if you have your hall pass ready, and if you don't, Karis does though. He has the jump over the wall, so he's able to get out of there. But if AL want this dragon, it's kind of theirs. I think there was Shanks with the charm, with the damage that Tarzan has with this first item spike as well. It's very, very strong spike, and I don't think that Monki, unless he full clears his bot side here, but I don't think he's allowed to do that either.
At least for Monki's sake, the CS gap is not happening. He's not getting canyoned like he did in game 1. Tarzan is still going to try to contest him on every camp that he can go for. Shanks dashes in with a Spirit Rush. Karis does have a Blast Cone to escape with, but Monki is now forced off of the blue buff because he did not want to use Smite in front of Tarzan's face to give him a free Dragon Pressure. About might be in trouble. Walks over the chompers, dashes away, takes a lot of damage. The Flash Spear just barely missing the mark, and a well-timed barrier denies the damage execute from the Mega Death Rocket.
Tarzan's still going here. What more can he get? Is it going to be a dive? Looks like the answer is no. Might just end up being the Drake for AL. Again, I think WE should give this Drake, especially now with About in base. He has completed that. Kraken, Monki.
Oh, good use of the shield from Yaoyao. Enough movement speed for Monki to escape what could have been a single point-and-click stun from Tarzan. And at least a flash blown from Trundle. Keeps his distance, though. 2,000 HP on the dragon. Tarzan will secure it. That's the first dragon over for the Pandas. Rift Herald spawning in the next 2 minutes. Monki's going to try to see if he can find something here on the Kael. Forces the flash out of the Lulu. Yaoyao committing, but Grand Star follows the response. Jumps on the Monki. Has the Inspired Shield. Does not need to burn the flash. They're going to look to see if they can reset the fight, but without their engaged tools, with no pillar, it's really hard for WE to close the distance.
There's a TP behind, though.
Oh, boy, WE, you gotta run. Who's it coming from? It is the
ult.
Scion. Flandre has Unstoppable Onslaught on cooldown, but he might be able to speed on in. Flash doesn't connect the Mocking Shell for the slow, but the Decimating Smash still connects and gets the knock-up on a 2. Yaoyao falls, and Shanks collects the kill credit. Oh, Tarzan finds Monki. Karis cannot save him in time. Across the veil into the Between Worlds. Tarzan just needs to get hit by one more auto attack. Karis gets the shutdown, but now About is getting dove under the tower. Flandre impacting the entire map, and now it is all catastrophe for WE.
Yeah, I mean, Cube's trying to remedy the situation, but it's a massive gold lead for top lane. Off of the start that we saw, AL, their team fighting in this game has been really, really good. So Cube forced a flash away as well and use the needles.
Goodness.
Shanks is still going, but those needles, even though that was R3, that did not do a lot of damage. I think that WE, they're a little bit out of their depth in this series, Raafaa, as that is something that we expected, but Monki's caught again.
Okay, well, the Unstoppable Onslaught is a little short. Was trying to capitalize on Monki without his flash and no use of the pillar, but unfortunately no dice for Flandre. It's okay. They still at least establish presence on the map. Now up 3,000 gold here at 15 minutes.
Hope we'll get some more gold back on this tower. I will say, like, WE's early games haven't been the worst in parts. You know, bot lane was going okay at the start. Mid lane is still good for Karis, especially after that kill. But there's other parts of the map that kind of just fall apart for WE. And in this game, it was the top and jungle. Mostly the top. And
oh no, Monki pops the subjugate, walks away from the flame chompers, but Grand Starfall into the spear, looks to stun down Yaoyao as well through the shields. It doesn't matter, anyone's legend, rolling them just like in game one. And Shanks in a 1v1 against Karis almost gets taken out. Unfortunately for Karis, cannot finish the job. Shanks managing to survive and not give over a death.
If you squint and look at Karis, and just only look at mid lane. You know, put your hands up, don't look at the gold. Mid lane is going great, you know. Shanks had a very good game one performance. And Karis is now showing off that was just one game, right? The Aurora's looking good, nearly solo killing Shanks back, doing fine in this matchup here. Even has a gold lead. But when you open your eyes fully, you see the full picture. And, you know, we were talking about how much are pictures worth in that game one. Again, they're worth quite a lot. If you take a look at the picture of the entire scoreboard, it's worth the sum of about 4,500 gold.
For what it's worth, we were pretty underrated, or we were pretty sleeper on Karis at the beginning of the split. I remember in some of our pre-game discussions and story meetings talking about, like, man, Monki has to play on this team again. This sucks for him. And it turns out that Karis just had one of the best splits of his career so far, but he has to perform miracles because now they're in a fight that could be determining of the Game 2 victor. Teleport from Cube on the Gwen, tries the front line for the team. That Veil's going down. Karis pops between worlds, looks for Hope, doesn't find the assassination, forces the flash away, and here come the Dinks resets. Hope is on his train to reset City. Shanks is gonna force away Cube out of the fight, takes him down with the charm, and a snipe of the zap from Hope over the wall, finds Yaoyao. Time to wrap it up, boys. We're getting ready for game 3 already.
Yeah, I think the conclusion is that was not the fight. Down, you know, 5,000 gold. I don't know if that Herald, even if you had gotten the Herald, I don't know if it would have really brought you back in the game. But WE say it is now or never. We will stand our ground and fight for this Herald. And it goes about as well as you think it could have gone. Karis has had a good game so far. He does go into the backline and miss everything on Hope and then die in the decimating smash. Not the prettiest fight from WE, and back at live is not too pretty either.
About forced to flash away, but the Grand Starfall, Tarzan flash spear into the stun. Good night about, and Yaoyao is going to be the next on the chopping block. Forced to flash away, does manage to survive now, but Shanks blocks him down with the charm, and Flandre can slow him with the mocking shout, and Tarzan once more. He's got the Rift Herald. Just going to take it for a quick smash into the turret, get some extra gold into their pockets, and just like that, Jbetto, we have an 8,000 gold lead before 20 minutes.
And the Herald is going to crash on the tier 2 tower in mid lane, and it's going to be even worse. It is also Cloud Soul. Will we get the Soul? We didn't have it finished in game 1. We're probably not having it finished in game 2 either. AL, they like to start off a little slow. And then once the engine has been turned on, you all but get run over and more. There was a joke made in the LCK, and I'm going to steal it for this. It was about backs against the wall, right? And WE feel like their backs are against the wall. And the joke goes that, like, I feel like they're, you know, in the wall, right? They've been pushed through the wall. They need something to, like, they're stuck in the wall. They are beyond just backs against the wall here, because this game is completely done. Like, it is very unlikely the Team WE come back. And then you're looking at game 3. We really need to see some magic from WE to find something in this series.
Not to single anyone out, Jbetto, but this has been already quite the rough series for Cube. Both games been given counter pick selection. In game 1, he survived against Flandre's Rumble, but because you're picking Ornn willingly into it, you're going to lose push priority. And we already talked about that in this meta, against someone like Tarzan, you need to get push so that Monki doesn't start losing resources through the top side of the map. Oh, what just happened? We jumped to live.
Oh.
We missed a lot of action on the Rift, but About is already down to a quarter of his HP. Yaoyao got killed somewhere down the line. I'm just as confused as everyone else at home. I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to pretend that never happened. And we were always here, and I'm aware of what happened. Oh, we're going again.
Oh my god!
We are hot fixing the issue live. Don't worry.
What is happening?
Because there is more action waiting.
Monki and Yaoyao trying to contest their own red quadrant jungle. Monki gets charmed and just forced to leave. None of these camps belong to him. It is all for the taking of anyone's legend. Quick drive-by from Unstoppable Onslaught. Flandre just says hello to Cube and knows that this Gwen doesn't want anything to do with this Scion in the solo lane.
Yeah, I think in the game 1, like going back to what you were talking about, the matchup, like, you don't counter Ornn. Sorry, you don't counter Rumble. You know, you weather through Rumble. You survive Rumble. And that didn't exactly happen. But in this game, this is a counter pick, right? And okay, yeah, Gwen takes one item to come online as, there's an ult in mid.
Goodness me! You see how much damage that Comet
They
Spear
didn't even
did?
need Tarzan.
No, I mean, he threw an empowered Comet Spear, and that cut through the Inspired Shield. Just insane how far ahead anyone's legend are. But like we said at the beginning of this series, this was the expectation that we had for anyone's legend to have over WE.
Yeah, we don't do predictions here, again, on the LPL, but I'm feeling pretty confident in my prediction at the beginning of this. If we were scoring points, which I'm down for, if any of our, owners, producers want to do predictions for the playoffs, I am down. But I'm +1ing myself for this series so far. I think everyone probably is +1ing for this series as well. Baron, given on 5. And I know that, you know, we're kind of having a bit of fun at the expense of Team WE. And I want to say again, I do think that out of all the teams we've seen, they are the team that deserves to be in Group Ascend, for Split 2. This is not Split 2 yet. This is playoffs. And AL they are full speed ahead towards finals. And I think that they are not going to stop until they get there.
Yeah. I mean, this is a team in WE that took Top Esports to a full 5-game series. And we just saw in our previous best of 5, JDG forced to a full 5-game series against Top Esports. So there's a world that WE, not against anyone's legend, but most of the other opponents in the field might be able to do well. This matchup is just really hard. Like, you've got Tarzan.
We got to be realistic, you know.
Yeah, and sometimes it can feel pretty pessimistic to be like, oh yeah, they were never gonna win this one. But you're seeing the results right now on your screen on how these matches play out. Decent job though from WE in preventing anyone's legend of getting any kills on that engage attempt. It was quite easily executed from WE to just get around it.
I think, Raafaa, I'm going to put myself in WE's shoes, right? Again, Group Ascent, this is a learning experience. You know, you have to lose these games. You have to lose games like this to improve. I'm not exactly sure what lessons we are learning from this series specifically, but there are lessons being learned. I'm sure of it. I can feel it, right? I can feel the knowledge going into my brain. Again, I'm not exactly sure what knowledge. Maybe Ban Pantheon is the knowledge. He's here.
The other knowledge is that Flandre is absolutely smurfing on Cube right now. Flash with a decimating smash does snag Cube, but no proper follow-up from anyone's legend can really get any more targets off of the engage attempt from Flandre. Karis is forced to retreat back in mid, and the rest of the Pandas are going to push in through the bottom side of the map, quickly doing away with this turret, undermining it, and they're going to fell this inhibitor next. Top lane still has structures in the path, but anyone's legend are going to try to end the game and go to game 3 off of this push. Charm connects on to Monki. Not tanky enough, but is barely able to retreat back to the fountain to heal back to top. But anyone's legend don't care about any of the players from WE in their path. They're looking to take down the Nexus turrets. Cube is the first one to fall, and the resets are starting to pour in for hope on this Jinx. The Nexus is exposed. They're going for the kills. They're just adding salt to the wound, and anyone's legend are going to game 3 up 2-0.
This doesn't really... Like, you're not supposed to end, or you're not supposed to be able to end like this anymore. Raafaa is gone. Look, I understand. The series is looking brutal, Raafaa, but you can't just dip out mid, you know? Like, this is our...
It's not me,
got a job to do here.
I think my camera understands that it's high on going into the regular season for group perseverance. And they definitely were going to be one of the better teams of the group. But remember, our expectations were EDG were going to be the favorite of group perseverance. Well, I'll tell you right now, that did not happen. EDG are not here. Yeah, and I'm still so sad about that, man. Oh, no, never mind. Do not go back to live. I thought that, forgot that my I was trying to find a different camera. However, I have too much
going well.
Mess on that side. I don't know why my camera won't come back on, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We got the draft graphic, and
yeah, I think this draft was okay. Like, for WWE, I really don't think that the draft was the problem. The problem is that you're getting solo killed at 3 minutes in. I think Monki's start again was really smart. I think that what Monki did was smart this game, right? He goes in and flashes the wall, invades the Pantheon, pushes him off the buff, and then denies Pantheon access to this jungle. Monki ends up getting some camps there. And then you lose essentially all value from that level 6 timer. because we never even really talked about that. We never even got there, right? The Gwen was down 0-2 before level 6 was even got. The bot lane started with Karma needing to base level 2. Like, one of the things that you pick Karma for is you guarantee bot prio for your entire lane. You are supposed to have it a lot. And okay, Jinx Lulu can fight for it, sure, but when your lanes are looking like that, we were talking about what happens when you're against Tarzan and you don't have lane priority. He's back. Hello. But in this game, he's playing Pantheon. Like, what are you supposed to do when your Gwen is losing side lane, Hope is doing that much damage, mid lane is stable, and Tarzan can go wherever he wants? I will say, in a split of throws of gold leads like this, it is very nice to see AL not make any mistakes with their gold lead and just close the game out quickly.
Yeah, I do not envy Monki's position in this game to have given your top laner counter pick and he loses it right from the get-go. We've talked about it before and again, and it's going to sound like we're just beating a dead horse at this point, but it is so prevalent to not just this series, but how playoffs are going to go for majority of these matches. This meta is so dependent on which jungler is getting ahead of the curve. When you look at the rest of the world and how global metas are being played out, if a jungler is able to hit level 6 before the other, that is a major window that you have to influence on the map, and teams have to respect it. And if they don't respect it, you get punished. You get majorly effed over, and therefore you need priority. You need agency in your lanes. But if you are getting counterpick and you're losing lane, draft can't solve that. That is just a player diff at that point.
And it is a bit unfortunate when the gap in like the lanes is this big, because there's not a lot for us to say about that, you know? It's not coming down to a team fight. It's not coming down to even macro along the map, or, you know, there was some very intelligent jungle pathing in this series, in game 1 more so, but when it's like you're getting solo killed really, really early, massive gold leads in matchups you're supposed to be doing well in or okay in are looking this bad. It really is, like, for Team WE here, even just getting to a mid game without being down like 5,000 gold is a good place to be. We haven't even seen them take a team fight at even yet. I mean, it's Tarzan, I would say. That's my vote. I think Tarzan had a great game.
I mean, at this point, we should give it to Flandre, because obviously Tarzan had a great game being able to bounce back from the invade from Monki, but I think you should, yeah.
Good call.
I 100% agree. If you beast the person that got counter pick and own him, like, you've completely warped the game and ruined any advantages that Monki had going for him off of the invade. And you just kind of won the game by yourself. And then he TP's bot, and he helps dive and gets Hope ahead. I mean, Flandre just smurfed this one, 100%.
Maybe we're setting up for a Tarzan player of the series then, because it was Shanks in game 1. I think Tarzan did well on the was it Jarvan? It was Jarvan, right? Yeah, it was Jarvan Oriana. Did well on the Jarvan. Flandre in this game, I think Tarzan had a great game on the Pantheon. So maybe it's like a Hope game 3, like player of the game, and then a Tarzan player of the series. Just tie it nice with a bow.
If Tarzan doesn't win player of the game in game 3, but then gets player of the series, that is insane to me. Like,
but then Kael, like, he's just left out. You know,
listen, I know he just got MVP. He deserves it. And we glazed this guy up saying if anyone's let you go to first stand, he's going to be the best jungler in the tournament. But even in this series, Tarzan hasn't been perfect. He's had some oopsies. He's had some hiccups. The dive on the cube in game 1, he kind of botched and overplayed his hand. Game 2, he was staying a little too long trying to ego check Monki, contesting his jungle, right? But if Tarzan gets player of the game in game 3, then maybe we see player of the series.
I want to quickly shout out Initialize and Nymera here for something that that they're talking about in Discord here. We'll have to finish off this statement later because it's just a question being posed. But this could be, if we go game 3 and it looks similar, the fastest LPL best of 5 ever. Because back-to-back 25-26 minute games in a best of 5 is incredibly fast. Especially, I want to add to this in this meta where we're seeing it's like increasingly difficult to end the game and increasingly difficult to take Baron, needing Soul. This is very, very fast. So we'll have to see maybe if Kelsey or Mazelle's around, something like, or maybe K-Man. I know some of our team members know a ton about the LPL history, or someone that will have to look it up. But it's been a very, very quick series so far from AL. Again, they are turbo speeding it to some more contested matchups. I know they want to take on JDG again. I know they want to take on BLG again as well.
Well, they can definitely get to JDG at this pace. And for BLG have to get to that. I guess it would have to be an upper final, is where anyone's legend could meet BLG if they were to win this series and then be victorious against JDG. But that